Yeah, we really do need an IT guy.
We really do. If anybody wants to be our IT guy for free, please
Hey,
let us
Morty
know.
Baby said that are the best in the biz. So we might need to take you up on that.
He was able to say that fast. Is that how good our latency is right now?
I think there's a little bit delayed. He said that a little while ago. There
Okay,
is a
cool.
slight delay, chat, from your chats and our um, speed. So you will have to forgive that.
All right, cool. So, can I see? Oh, and I can see the chat too. Public chat. There we go. We have achieved sight and sound. Indeed. All right,
Epic
cool.
Face Guy 40 is our most current chat. So
Okay, cool. I'm seeing that too. Shout out the chat man. There we go. We got Southbra in here. All right, fuck yeah, we're sweet. We're sweet.
yeah. Yes, I would love to smash my PC with my axe back there after. For two guys who aren't very technologically adept, we chose a poor career path, huh?
Dude, I want to be able to I just all I care about is being able to pay somebody else to do all that for me, so all I have to worry about is making the shit. I don't even want to film the shit. The Youngs
Yeah,
discovered the internet. We did,
we
yeah.
did. We did indeed discover the internet, but we have not mastered the internet. There's a difference between mastery and discovery. We're
Yeah.
still in the discovery phase.
I mean, imagine when they first discovered fire. They did not master it, and it probably killed and burned a lot of people. I
Well,
mean, I saw the multiple live streams and assumed I'll bridge the tech gap. Thank you.
fair.
Yeah, I'm glad that we could do that. That's what the
Hopefully the
editors.
last of the technical issues this stream. But
Yes.
knock on some wood if you're sitting at your desk.
Yeah, and everybody, if you, I mean, everybody's probably out of the other live stream, but if you guys could let everyone know that we are not on the one that I created for it to fucking work, we're on the one that actually fucking worked. So, but anyways, we can also get started. Violet
Yeah,
Fury, you're in IT. All right,
I think
very
we're
cool.
ready to go.
Beautiful. So yeah, so we are going to be fielding any and all questions from you guys. I was kind of hoping, I had no idea, again, very poor with the technology thing. I was hoping that we could get people to come onto the stream and like even be able to like vocally, kind of like a call-in sort of thing, where we would let people like come up and ask their questions and chat back and forth and that sort of thing. I don't think that that's going to be possible. We will figure that out in the future. Um, Two barbarians trying to start a live stream is that is hilarious. But for the time being, we're just going to be using the chat. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat and we'll try and field them as they come in. For the time being, until one comes in, we're going to field some questions from the people who left them on Instagram and stuff like that.
You know, it's a sign. This is technically episode 13. 13 is usually an unlucky number, and I think we're getting that technology side. It's my lucky number. I like to consider 13 as my lucky number, but clearly that is not pulling for me with our technology. But
Not yet, but it's going to get better.
so
Not
we
yet.
welcome to episode 13, and as Jonas teed up, we are going to dive into the questions.
Yes. Um, all right. So, first question is from A. Barreto. He asks, have you picked up any other languages?
No. Language, I studied Spanish for, gosh, probably 8 years from like elementary school through high school.
Mhm.
And it just never really stuck. The closest I got was when we had a trip to Costa Rica and we were living with some families in a village, like some
That always
host
forces you
families.
to learn.
Yeah, and then you kind of, I mean, you kind of have to because they didn't speak any English, and it's like we were literally living with them.
Yeah.
So that you started to pick up a little bit, just like situationally. But could I go somewhere and speak Spanish? No, no. English it is, and I don't even always get English right. So
Um, my background is my mom is from Brazil, so I speak like 50% fluent Portuguese. Same with Spanish. My Spanish might be a little bit better than my Portuguese because I practiced in high school. I live in Southern California, so there's a lot of Spanish speaking going on. And I used to work in construction, so I was speaking Spanish like pretty much all day. I've also worked in a couple kitchens, a lot of Spanish going on there too. So,
Can you give us something in Portuguese?
sim, meu nome é Jonas, eu falo português, a minha mãe é do Brasil e eu gosto de filmar vídeos de história, filosofia e mitologia. That's my
Well,
elevator pitch.
I'm just gonna assume that was correct.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know. I did
Yeah,
when I
uh-huh.
did jiu-jitsu, we'd count in Portuguese because Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Brazil. But I think I could only get to like maybe 10 now.
Oh, with not, yeah, yeah. But BJJ is the place to learn too. I know a lot of guys who, because I used to do BJJ for a couple of years, and a lot of guys learned Portuguese in there, at least like the funny words, and they also learned how to do the accent, really well, because they're always like copying their teachers and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he talking like this, nah? Like when you get in the guy's guard. All right. So yeah, that's a little Portuguese and Spanish. Um, Nada mal, correto. Obrigado, irmão. So this guy just said that everything I said was correct. So there we
Oh,
go.
sweet.
Dude, we got some people from my freaking Discord. What's up, guys? I saw Alexa's in here. Dude, Drew's in here. Andrew's in here. I have 3 Andrews in my Discord. Uh,
Triple Andrews.
yeah, we go
Quite
we go Andrew, Andy, and Drew.
okay. So if there's a fourth Andrew, what do they get?
You're not allowed to join.
The Andrew limit has been hit.
Yes. All right, let's field one of these questions. The first one that I saw come through from Alan B415 was the moon landing real? I'm gonna go. I don't think so, but I think it's possible. I think that I'm not one of the like flat Earth people who thinks that we can't space travel. I really want to believe in space travel. I just don't think we've actually done it yet, personally.
Enough. I will dissent slightly. I do think at least the original mission was real and successful.
Very
I
cool.
also am very keen on not just believing in space travel, but I also want it to be real because I think the frontiers, it's like humanity needs a frontier,
Yeah.
and space is the next logical frontier for expansion. It was the sea, the sky, space. It just makes sense, kind of from like a teleological perspective. I don't know if I
Yeah.
just said that word right, but the
No, I
next
think
big
that's
thing,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
But I, of course, would not be surprised if not every moon mission was either real or at least the full truth was imparted.
Hmm.
That I don't think you could really say unless you go to the moon yourself, or get obviously high enough in government that you would get access to that information. But I am going to say I believe that there have been men on the moon. And who knows? Maybe one day I'll get to test that theory myself and either die or
There
first
you go.
first moon colony.
Yeah, that would be pretty sick. That would be pretty sick. In my Discord, we're doing a book club and we're reading C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy. And it's just getting me real fired up about space travel. Like I just want to be able like at first, I used to be kind of one of those like Elon haters where I was just like, it's transhumanist and it sucks. But that would be super cool to be able to travel the stars. So, and I'm also reading Dan Simmons' Hyperion Contos right now. So I'm just like, this is the most sci-fi I've ever read in my life, and I'm reading it all at once. So I'm kind of in that realm right now. But let's see. Next question. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add? I'm sorry.
No, that was perfect. I'm just trying to keep track of the questions
Yeah, me too. It keeps
as
slipping
they
out of my
load.
hands. Okay,
Yeah.
so also, Drew, I don't know why your name here is James Hitchcock, but I've realized that Birdman Hitchcock has asked us previous questions, and that was you all along. Um, He says, if you could have dinner with any individual from history, but they host and serve a meal slash feast
Ooh.
appropriate to the time and place, who would you dine with? I like that. It adds an extra
Ooh.
layer. Hmm. Well, so here's the thing that you have to remember, right? Like the food that we consider the quintessential food of that place, like Italian food, for example. The things that we consider Italian food would not have necessarily existed in Italy, say, during the Roman Empire. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they had tomatoes. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure,
no, yeah, they
you know,
yeah, it'd be a lot different.
you
If
would,
you
you know,
yeah, if you're
pizza.
dining with Julius Caesar, you're not having Little
You're
Caesars.
eating, yeah, you're eating
uh,
sardines and dates and olives and a lot of bread, like a lot of grain. So I think that if I had to dine with anyone, I think it would probably be. Mm, that's a good question, actually. What are you thinking?
I'm kind of thinking Theodoric the Great because he's a barbarian, but he takes over Rome, right? So he's
Uh-huh.
got kind of that barbarian feasting mentality, probably lots of alcohol and songs and kind of a joyous atmosphere. But
And his
also you've got
grandparents would have been under Attila's Hunnic Confederation as well, so he's also got that sort of like steppe
yeah,
influence
Attila
as
was
well.
known for feasts too. But also now that he's in Rome, you've got some of the Mediterranean food that might be a little more palatable to a 21st century
Yeah,
man such
true.
as myself. So a lot of bread, olive oil, olives, cheeses, that kind of thing. So
Cheese.
um, I think I would have to go with
Theodoric.
Theodoric the Great. Theodoric. I don't. Yeah, that's probably the correct pronunciation.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. They're both correct. Yeah. Andrew said his answer would be Ogadai Khan. The silver tree would be crazy for drinking. I was also gonna say something, but I was trying to come up with something like really funny. Like I wanted to say Hercules because I think that he was actually um uh an ancient steppe warlord from like the 10th century BC. I think he was like a Bronze Age steppe warlord, and we have all these sort of shared cultures. The Scythians say that they descend from them. The Dacians, the Greeks, obviously, like the Dorians and the Spartans. I think he might have been a real person. So I'll say Hercules, one, so I can find out if he's real, and two, because we're probably going to eat a lot of game, drink some milk, kumis, um, and yeah, I think that that'd be pretty cool.
Great answers.
There we go. Next question. How can I grow a mustache as glorious as yours? Any special oil or wax? I feel like we've answered this question so many times, but Dane does not use anything in his glorious mustache.
I actually might. I
Oh,
do have some wax that I haven't used in a long time, but I might start just because the ends get a little out of control sometimes. So I might experiment again and just see if it's worth it or not.
there you go.
But yeah, otherwise, yeah, just grandpa's genetics. I what can I say? I'm blessed.
Yeah. And I do use this wax called uh Death Grip, Sudden Death. The reason they call it Sudden Death is because it's like the light one and it's not like super sticky because I don't want my mustache to not be able to move. Um that and my girlfriend trims it for me like once a month because I every time I try to do it myself I fuck it up and I cut it all off. Don't want that to happen. Dude, I wish the chat would stop moving as I'm trying to look for
I know. It
questions.
keep yeah, it keeps pulling down
Oh, Dane, are we getting an
automatically.
Aztec video or was that just you wanting to become more knowledgeable?
I'm assuming I'm assuming he means my you mean my Inca book that I've been reading that I'm
Probably.
almost done with. By the way, it's taken me a
Nice.
long time. But I get distracted and such. But when I finish, I've been taking notes. That's partially why it's taken me so long. I've been trying to take notes as I go so that when I finish, I can I'm going to release a TikTok video that kind of just summarizes my thoughts and all that. But I actually do want to do a full YouTube. I don't want to say book review because it's not like I'm going to put some guy from 400 years ago on blast for like critically review.
I am.
But
That's all I do in my documentaries.
um, but yeah, kind of a review in a sense, and a kind of break it. I don't want to recount. I don't want to do a summary either, because you should just read the book.
Right.
But I have a long
An
video
analysis.
planned for YouTube. Yes, an analysis would be the probably the most proper term for what I want to do. So I've been taking a lot of notes, that hopefully will give you guys a lot of insight into their culture, their history, and also kind of the process of history as a field as it was in that time, in older times. So yeah, should be a lot of fun. So definitely keep your eyes out for that. But yeah, I've got to finish the book first. I keep having ideas and I want to like prematurely make it, but I'd rather just do it all at the end.
Nice. Very cool. Caffeine and Philosophy. Our boy CB is in here. He
Yay!
says, what sacrifices must one make and to which gods to receive hair like yours? I don't have any, I'm trying to think. Like Apollo is the first god that comes to mind. However, I've never made any sacrifices to Apollo. And yet, I'm still blessed.
Sometimes I don't know why, because I don't have a beard. Sometimes I get called Jesus randomly. I'm sure you do too.
You don't. I do. You don't need a full beard. I got cast as Jesus in a music video, and I told them, I was like, I can't grow a full beard. They're like, that's not important. And I was like, okay.
Oh, now Jesus and Christian God, you don't necessarily need to make sacrifices to in a legit sacrificial sense. I mean, of course, there's still sacrifices in a more metaphorical sense, maybe. Although some might say they're not really sacrifices if you're following God's word, and it's because it's good for you. Like that's the thought.
Well, sacrificing just means to make sacred.
Huh.
That's like where the original term comes from, to make something sacred. But in order to make something sacred, you essentially have to it's kind of a circular thinking, because it's like in order to make something sacred, you have to offer it up to God. But in order to offer it up to God, it becomes sacred.
That's funny because it's taken on such like a term now where it's like, I've got to I have to sacrifice my fun time for this, or I have to sacrifice my dessert for my weight loss, or I have to sacrifice going out to save money. It's always like I have to lose something I like to for whatever you're sacrificing for. But I hadn't thought about it.
So sacrifice originates from the Latin sacrificium, a meaning a making sacred or offering to a deity. It is a compound of sacr, sacred or holy, and facere, meaning to make or to do. So it is to make holy or to make sacred. But because to make something sacred often means to offer something up, like an animal or wages, it means to essentially give away or to do without, because you have to go without the thing that you're offering.
Connecting a little bit back to the last question, there was a whole chapter in that book about their the Inca's sacrifices. They did not perform human sacrifices. They actually would outlaw it anywhere they conquered. Many of the peoples they conquered did, and obviously the Aztecs did. That's kind of like their main selling point. And the Romans did human sacrifices.
But yeah, Vikings.
Lots of ancient cultures did human. Probably most have some kind of human sacrifice element.
It's the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate sacred making.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting hole to go down. The
Totally.
history of human sacrifice in cultures.
Absolutely. Okay, next question. Southbra, thoughts on sunning your balls? I really enjoy sunning my balls. It's something that I used to do a lot when I lived in a house that had a backyard that I could sort of like corner myself in. But now I live in an apartment building. There is nowhere for me to safely do it. I have to go to the beach on days where it's not busy and find like a hidden like rock. There's some spots. I'm not going to give away my spots to you guys, but there's some spots that are kind of isolated. But yeah, I'm moving soon. This is something we could talk about. I'm moving soon. I'm gonna go actually get a house, and hopefully we'll have like a nice spot in the backyard to do that because it really makes you feel better. I would say charges you up, lots of energy.
And actually, I just did it the other weekend.
There you go.
Found the optimal angle on my balcony.
Nice.
It's a little public, but screw it.
Fuck
it like I'm not someone who necessarily subscribes to all like alt health ideas, but I'm always willing to try things, no matter how silly or weird they seem. And it felt good. I felt
Doesn't that
energized.
one just like it doesn't really seem that silly if you think about it. It's good to get sun on your skin. And we know that, like, for example, the sun converts cholesterol into vitamin D. It's like good for your health. Why would it not be good to do it on your entire body? Why is it only good up until a point? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Fair point. Yeah, no, I obviously I didn't do it that long. I didn't want to sunburn on my balls. That would not be fun in the slightest. Did a little charge as I drank my morning tea and read a little bit, and yeah,
I will say,
and I killed the gym after it. So
one time, because I used to make a ritual out of it. I would like make my coffee, grab a book, go sit out in the backyard, and just like be nude for 30 minutes to an hour. And I spilled my coffee all over my lap one time. And I burned my balls, but it was a very I don't think I've ever told that story, but I felt like telling it right now on live on YouTube. Very cool
to see.
Okay, Mike Paul 7329. Just so you guys know, trying to go in order so that we cover all the questions. So I'm sorry if we're taking a while to get to your question, but we'll try to go quick. Regardless of public perception of him, do you think Robert Sepehr, I'm not really sure, Robert Sepehr, at least in part, started this whole genre regarding Scythians, etc., and anthropology stemming from the steppe? Wait, I might have misunderstood the question. Do you think Robert Sepehr, at least in part, started this whole genre? Oh.
Yeah, like I think.
I see. Of people caring about people getting
interested in.
I would actually, if I have to give credit to one person, it would probably be Tom Rosell. I think that's how you say his last name. Survive the Jive. I did not realize the guy's been posting on YouTube since like 2008 or something. 2010 maybe. Long time. Like he's been in the game for a long time, and he was making videos about like the Proto-Indo-Europeans and like the Yamnaya and stuff before we even had like the modern genetic studies that we have today from like 2016. That's insane. So I think he kind of started it, but yeah, Robert Sepehr I think made it like really popular. Let's see.
Agree with that.
Attila the Hun versus Groot Pierre, who wins in a fight?
Oh, do you know who that is?
I don't know who Groot Pierre is.
From what I remember, he was I think a Frisian rebel who was in the Renaissance or like the 16th, 17th century, around that time, pike and shot, all that, who
Okay.
was huge, like huge, and carried a giant sword, like one of the biggest swords that's probably ever been used in battle. And
Huh.
he was just a
I don't
menace
know if
to
it's
oh, yeah, there he is. There he is. Kind of, hey, he's got the mustache going. What do you know?
dude, he
Um,
looks just like you. Are you kidding me?
maybe I need to do a cosplay. Um,
It's hilarious.
but yeah, he was a rebel who fought, I think, a guerrilla war against maybe the Habsburgs. Um, some one of the imperial powers of that age, and he was just a monster in battle. Like, kind of, if you've ever seen Berserk, and Guts has that giant sword and he just like cuts his way through dozens of men. It's kind of like the real life Guts.
I've never
um
seen that, but I believe it.
so I think in a fight, I don't know if you mean with like their weapons or like a fist fight or what exactly sense you're meaning, but I love Attila the Hun. He was the scourge of God, but I don't think he's getting it on my boy here.
Just because I don't know
Ruth
enough
Pierre
about him,
is
I'm gonna say
huge.
it. Yeah, I'm gonna say Attila because Attila was able to essentially single-handedly. I mean, there's obviously many causes, but like you can almost argue that Attila brought down the Western Roman Empire. Like he's what caused the fall of Rome. Because even though it may have been the actual like barbarians who sacked the city and took their place and yada yada, and there was the foederati, like we've made videos about this, but they wouldn't have entered the empire so easily or so quickly if they weren't fleeing from the Huns. You know, so in a sense, their
But
westward movement sparked it.
are you taking it as like a war battle or like? Because I think he meant in like a one-on-one context, like a duel
Oh
or
no, 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 no. I see. Yeah. I was just saying that this is why I think Attila is an impressive figure.
oh, okay, gotcha,
I don't
gotcha.
know anything about what these guys would have actually been like in a one-to-one combat situation,
the
so I can only gather.
the only
Well,
thing
okay, you know
is
what? I'll take Group Pierre on this one then. Fuck it, why not? He's probably a lot taller and stronger. He's wielding a crazy sword.
if Attila gets a horse and a bow, because then
Mm,
it's like you can't really chase down a horseman
no,
unless it's in a tight arena. I don't know. There's a lot of questions,
yeah,
clarifying questions when you ask like verses. I think if Attila does get a bow and a horse, I think that probably gives him the edge.
no, for sure, he's cooked if that's the
Um,
case.
because I mean, even if he's got armor, he just literally can't catch up.
Yeah,
Unless it's in a really tight space. But if they're on the
exactly.
ground, yeah, the guy was just monstrous. But in terms of like battle tactics and everything, I mean, Attila's obviously the more accomplished historical figure. So
Right. Okay, cool. Next question. Uh, the Romanticize Everything podcast part 3 when? Are you gonna do another Romanticize Everything podcast?
probably, I mean, this is basically like the spiritual successor because
Yeah.
original plan for that, Jonas was a guest, obviously. And it was just going to be like a podcast where I had guests on. But people really like Jonas, and we obviously are good friends, and we were just like, screw it, why not make a show together? Enough people wanted it. And he was my guest twice in a row. So now it's just like,
It just made sense.
yeah, if I ever were to have a guest, we would just bring him here, and likewise with Jonas. So I don't really see like a separate niche that my own podcast would fill. So
I feel that. Um, and also, I just really wanted a podcast, and I kind of like I was gonna maybe start one myself, but then I'd be like, am I biting Dane's shit by starting my own podcast after you had just started one? And then also, I kind of didn't want to have the burden of having to like find guests all the time. I wanted to just be able to rip. And like you are someone who, and I'm not trying like I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I literally am not. But like you're really down to make content, and so am I. And so like you are just the most obvious person that's just like, I know I'm gonna be like, yo, find an hour in your week. We're filming a podcast, and we've been able to make it happen for 13 weeks straight.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It just made sense.
yeah. You guys have to have prosopa insights on the podcast. The facial hair trio would be insane. I'm not. Are you familiar with who that is?
I am not familiar. I'm going to write that down though.
Yeah. In the meantime, Epic Face Guy 40. Sorry, I meant to be reading your guys' usernames. I kind of like when people do that, so I'm gonna try and do that. Are we getting guest repeats? I have watched Harry Miller's appearance 4 times. So have I. It's a great episode. I would also like to request Gray Rilla on the podcast. You 4 are easily my most watched Instagram pages. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, you guys send the podcast page recommendations for people to reach out to. We have reached out to the people that you are recommending. Some people are a little bit more hard to get in touch with or coordinate or organize with, but I will get around to all of the recommendations. But yeah,
Ray Real, I can say, makes some really good content.
Sick. I had no idea.
Just started following him not too long ago. He's made some awesome videos.
Awesome.
Definitely, I think he's in here.
I saw him earlier. That's why I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so we would be happy to have you on. It would be a pleasure for sure.
There we go. Harry Miller will definitely be back on the podcast. He is on East Coast time. Dane and I are both on West Coast time. And Dane also works not a 9 to 5, an 8 to 4.
7 to 4.
7 to 4. Let's be perfectly clear here. So just timing wise, we're all very busy, and just getting to make it so that we're not like making Harry podcast with us at 10 p.m. Because he works early. He's a personal trainer, so he's up super early. So it's just difficult to coordinate, but we will get him back on the podcast. And I will, how about this? I'll guarantee that he will be back on within the next 4 months. I will guarantee that, because we'll be together in August. But let's see. Jonas, any singular aspect of the Reconquista that you really enjoy deep diving? Well, in all of my YouTube videos, or at least what I've been trying to do lately, like with the Scythians and the Goths and now doing the Reconquista, I want to make these videos that cover the aspects of things that you don't hear in other videos. If you look up the Reconquista, you can find 5 or 6 like documentaries about it. You can find videos on how this battle went and blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck about that. I want to know, why did this one guy betray this guy? And it's because he like fucked his girlfriend or something, and he was mad, and then he called him short. And so then they started like a blood feud between their families. And then generations later, this culminated. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's that kind of shit. And that's why I always go to the primary sources, because the modern historians are not talking about this. They're talking about the battle lasted 13 days. Bro, cool. Why? Why did the battle start? And it's that kind of information. So like, for example, I just found out today, as I'm doing my research for this video, that Pelagius of Asturias was the son of a man who was the dux of Galicia, who was the son of King Kindiswinthe the Goth, and his father was killed by the rival treasonous faction of Visigoths, the king Witiza and his sons. Killed Pelagius's father, so he already had a reason for there to be a blood feud between their peoples, but then the treasonous faction let in the Islamic invaders. They came in, and then one of the governors who was in the province that Pelagius was a nobleman in kidnapped Pelagius's sister and took her as a wife, as he sent Pelagius on a diplomatic mission out of the city to get him away from his sister so that he could do that. And that's what originally started the uprising rebellion from Asturias, because he decided to stop paying the tax to this governor to try and like rescue his sister and then flee to the mountains. Why have I never heard that before? Why has nobody ever said that before? And I'm like, dude, I hate to have to be the hero, but I'm gonna have to be the hero that tells everybody the story. So that's my favorite thing too. That's my favorite.
That's an
aspect
interesting
of the Reconquista.
story. I look forward to hearing all of that tea.
Dude, I'm 10 pages deep on the script right now, and I'm about a quarter of the way through my outline. So it's gonna be a doozy. If you guys think that I should release it in like 3 or 4 20 to 30 minute parts, let me know. Otherwise, it might be a fucking 2-hour documentary. We're gonna find out. But that's that. Next question. Did you finish Evola's Revolt Against the Modern World? I have not finished it. I'm probably a third of the way through it. I'm reading a lot of books right now because I'm reading like 4 different books for the Reconquista video. I have my book club that I like read, that we're reading C.S. Lewis. So there's just like a lot of different things that I'm reading. So I read Revolt when I get time, and it's not a lot of time. So I'm going through it quite slowly. Have you ever read that, Dane? Have you read any Evola?
No, I've read Ride the Tiger.
Oh, you did?
Nice. Wait,
Do you have it?
Yeah, it's down by my foot.
There you go. I was gonna read that, but then I'm kind of a dork and I like to go chronologically. So like I read René Guénon before I read Evola because I heard that was a good starting point to get into Evola. So there's that.
Somewhere in my book pile. I don't have a bookshelf in here yet. That's why I don't have a background. But
I know you're not. I know you're not LARPing. I know you've read it. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Have you guys ever met up in person? Asks Alexa. Yes, we have met up in person. We've filmed a video together, and we've talked about that story, I think, on the podcast before. But yeah, I was in did people know that you're where you were?
I mean,
situated for the most part.
It's not hard to figure out.
I was in Las Vegas. I got cast in a commercial, so I flew out there and I was shooting it. And I needed a ride to the airport, and Dane came on one of my lives one night, hit me up and said, yo, I live here. And so he drove all the way out, picked me up, and we like hung out before I had to fly home, and we shot a couple of videos together. But yeah, that was the first time we met. And should we tell people when we're going to meet again? Or should we keep it secret?
We'll hide it for now.
Okay, cool. But yeah, we'll be meeting up again soon. Dane, what are your thoughts on the boxing versus wrestling discussion from our our Paralandra book club? So there's this scene where essentially you can say a man who is the representation of Christ is fighting a man who is the representation of Satan, and they get into a literal physical altercation, and the Satan figure wants to grapple because he is larger and like just sort of like more rotund in his physique, whereas the Christ-like figure is like smaller, but he is more agile, so he wants to strike, he wants to box. And we had a discussion over whether or not that's because grappling is inherently evil and boxing is more upstanding because it's literally like you're standing up and there's like a But I countered by saying that I only think that that's because C.S. Lewis was writing in the 1940s and he didn't maybe see the like sort of diplomatic nature of grappling, because I've always felt like jiu-jitsu is a sport where everybody is playing on an equal playing field. Like I've been submitted by 100-pound women in jiu-jitsu when I was a white belt because they were able to, like, they knew more moves than I did, you know? So it's like you kind of take the size and strength aspect out of it. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, because I mean, I've trained Muay Thai, kickboxing, and also jiu-jitsu, wrestling. So I've done a few mixed martial arts bouts. Below the neck, I was like 12 years old, so
Mhm.
they didn't allow headshots in that. Um, so I've also kind of done it together, right? In a
Right.
like you use both at once. Um, it's an interesting discussion. I mean, when you ask like verses, it sounds like your guys is more like a kind of like moral or metaphysical discussion on like which is
Yes.
more righteous or honorable.
Yeah.
Um, that's a that's tough. I think. Well, I think the most honorable thing with any like kind of duel or anything is that if you're willing to agree upon what you're doing first, like if two
That's
guys
the
are
most
going to
honorable.
go to fisticuffs and they say, no, we both agree not to, stab each other with a knife or pull out a gun
Or have your
or
boys
go
jump
to the
in.
ground. Yeah, exactly. So I think if you decide if it's no holds barred, if it's just fisticuffs, if you're just going to wrestle, I think that's honorable. Now, if you want to win, and it's like a guy you don't know or
Deathmatch.
have reason, yeah, and it's like kind of no holds barred, then kind of do use whatever you can. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say if one's more like one form of martial art is just like more innately honorable.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's you're in a physical altercation with somebody, um, which is honorable to start with. But yeah,
There you go. There's your answer. Um, let's see. From Guerrilla, he says, if you guys haven't heard Home at Last by Steely Dan, check it out. It's Odyssey imagery in their signature style. All right, very cool.
huh. Oh, one last note on that
Yeah, please.
discussion though. Satan, I think, is the kind of guy that would like poison your food or your drink and like
Yeah.
give it
So
to you as a friend. Satan wouldn't fight you physically. He would
yeah,
he wouldn't wrestle or box you. He would try to destroy you with more subversive means.
yes, completely agreed. And that is kind of represented a little bit in the book, but you guys will have to read Paralandra by C.S. Lewis to find out exactly what's going on. All right, next question comes from. Oh, and Grayrilla said that he's totally down to come on, hit him up, we can work it out. Glad y'all like my stuff. Awesome. There we go.
Sweet.
Got our next guest. Have you ever had to defend yourself or someone else physically? Very topical question.
yeah, that kind of bleeds right in. Not really. I've been in a couple situations that were kind of physical. I feel like I told this story maybe on our last. Does this ring a bell?
Go on and I'll let you know if it does.
One case in college when I was very intoxicated and I was sitting on the couch.
Where are you?
With a girl who's kind of like taking care of me because I was like that drunk that I couldn't really take care of myself.
I think I do remember this story, but go ahead. It's a short story.
And some other kid who was also very drunk, thought it was his girlfriend and that I was like hitting on her. And he came up and punched me in the head. And I was so drunk I didn't realize I got punched. And then my friends like tackled him and like beat him up outside, and I was just like sitting on the couch, like blood
Very
like coming
aristocratic.
from my face, and I didn't even know what was going on. And they got me like a towel, and I don't know, I was fine. I smoked a cigarette after. So that I didn't really defend myself. I kind of just sat there. I was too intoxicated to do anything. So
There you go.
there was another situation at a bar where also I got randomly punched again. Two guys were fighting behind me in the bathroom line. I don't know what happened. Somehow one of them swung at me, and then I swung back and we got into it a little bit and split up. That was that. Had bruises on my knuckles and on my orbital. but I was fine. But fortunately, usually I'm able to like de-escalate a situation. Like I'm usually the kind of person that like breaks up people who are trying to fight
Yeah.
versus someone who's fighting. And of course, like no matter how strong and well trained you are, the best and safest thing for everyone is to not
Yeah.
to be able to be the diplomat until you have to, you
Especially
know.
if you are in a public situation with strangers, you never know where things might lead. You don't know if somebody has a gun or something, so it's just always best to de-escalate those situations. The only time that I've ever really been in like fights was one time in middle school. I got into a little bit of a tiff with somebody who ended up becoming like one of my best friends later on in life.
Hey.
And the second time was when I was 19. I was working as a wildland firefighter up in Washington, and me and the guys had just had like a really long day. It was actually the guy who was my roommate at the time, and we worked on the same engine, so we literally lived together, and then we went to work together, and we were just around each other like 18 hours a day. And you get kind of like not like sick of each other, but you get like brotherly close to the point where you feel okay, like kind of like pestering each other. And man, I was washing the truck one day and he came up from behind me and he like kicked me in the ass wearing his like our like logging boots, and they're heavy and they hurt. And so I was like, I cut that out, we had had a long day. And then he came up behind me and did it again, kicked me a second time. And he also like trained jujitsu and stuff. So it's like, I think he was kind of just like baiting me to like mess around or something, but I was not in the fucking mood. And then when he did it a third time, I turned around and I like swung. I was almost gonna punch this guy in the face, but he's like literally one of my best friends. I wasn't gonna punch him in the face, so I kind of like adjusted at the last minute. I punched him like square in the chest, and that really pissed him off. So then he was also in like go mode, and then we just like started going at it. I eventually like I took him down to the ground, and because I didn't want the situation to escalate, I kind of just like held him on the ground, and we like grappled a little bit. He tried to get up, and long story short, I basically just told him like, don't do that again. And he was like, let me up. And then people came and like broke it up. But that was the extent of that fight. And we got in a lot of trouble for it the next day. Um, and he had like because we were on gravel and he like scraped up his entire arm. It's like a little reminder of like just how shitty of a day we had and like how stupid it was. But that happens sometimes between you and your bros. And
Yeah. Boys like to fight, and when you're in stressful situations, sometimes
you just got to, yeah. We'd had a long day. It was a bad day, and we needed to fucking get our anger out somehow. So that was how it went. South Bra says, what is your guys' favorite statue? You have a favorite statue?
Gosh, I've seen so many cool statues. Like when I scroll through art and stuff, I'm like, man, that's an awesome statue. The statue of Genghis Khan comes to mind because it's like one of the few statues that I can picture and also name. So a lot of times I see a statue of like a knight or a colonial figure or something, and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And then I forget like who they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that the cool thing about the Genghis Khan statue is that modern day Mongolians still like revere it and treat it as a like a national treasure, and it's like something to like idolize. Whereas
Yeah.
a lot of people have been taught to not like their country's history and their people's history. So yeah, it's cool to see in the modern world there's still people who venerate their ancestors who accomplished great and terrible things. So
Good way to put it. I think so my favorite like sculpture artist is what's his first name? Bernini. He was an Italian Renaissance era. Like he made statues. He was commissioned by like the Medici family, and he made a lot of those statues. but I would have to say that two of my favorite statues are the Farnese Hercules statue. It's probably the most popular one of him, and I'm not actually sure who the sculptor is, but I have had the young Hercules statue has been my wallpaper background on my phone for actually years now. I really like that statue. Something about it, it just looks like he's like peering into your soul, just like beckoning you to be like a greater man. And so it's like a nice little reminder to just kind of be my best self every day. And also, I have written part of Thucydides' famous, or not Thucydides, Epictetus's famous quotes where he says, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself?" And I think that's a good reminder to have on your phone. It's like, are you gonna like just doom scroll right now, or are you gonna be productive and make sure that you're becoming your best self? But I would say that one.
It's a good one. It's
That statue.
personal.
Yeah, it means a lot to me, and I just created that meaning myself, which is important. You need to do that sometimes. Let's see. Next question. Have y'all ever researched the Cimmerians and how they relate to the Scythians? Also, are you guys Christians, pagans, or some kind of combination of the two beliefs or philosophies? I will say that I have researched the Cimmerians a little bit. A lot of people kind of just lump them into like the greater Scythian culture, but they were distinct peoples like before the Scythians just because they had their own distinct culture. Genetically, whether they were different is kind of another question. And as far as my status on my religion, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And I think that I kind of take like a C.S. Lewisian approach to this, where I believe that all mythology is valid, and I believe that the gods actually do exist to varying degrees of existence. But I think that they all fall under the sort of shared divine hierarchy that is under the like ultimate creator God, if that makes sense. That's probably the most concise and short way I could put it.
The first part of the question, the only research I've done into the Cimmerians was tangential when I was watching a video on Egyptian warfare, chariot warfare, why chariots kind of phased out potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cimmerians coming in to the region, horse archers, that sort of thing. Cavalry
Mm-hmm.
kind of phased out. It's kind of interesting to think because chariots seem more complex when you look at them.
Right.
Cavalry, generally speaking, is actual like single rider and horse is actually generally
Because it takes
better.
a lot more skill.
There's a lot that goes into it, but the Cimmerians were partially one of the peoples that were talked about in that video. Now, of course, it's interesting that Conan the Barbarian. I don't know if it's intended, because gosh, why can't I remember his freaking name? The creator of Conan the Barbarian and all of those.
I wouldn't know.
Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Tell your story. I'll look it up.
Anyway, whoever he was, he pulled a lot of things from history for his Conan
Robert Howard.
mythos. Yes, okay, Robert Howard. He pulled a lot of historical things for his mythos. And Conan, his tribe is the Cimmerians or Cimmerians, but they're obviously not steppe or horse riders or anything. They have the riddle of steel. They're more like Germanic-y type barbarians.
It's kind of an amalgamation of all barbarian.
Yeah, and he pulls in a lot of things like Atlantis, and he takes a lot of like ancient history to kind of add some flavor, but I don't think he was being too careful about making Conan very Cimmerian in the historical sense.
Right.
So, for the second part of that question, I think your best answer, and this is a little bit of a cop-out, But our last two episodes, the one with caffeine and philosophy, and the one prior
Mhm.
to that, that was more directly about religion, I think are the best places to get an idea of where I am at spiritually at the moment.
Yeah, myself included. So you guys should definitely go check out. I think it was episode 11 or was it episode 10 perhaps?
It might
10
have
or
been
11.
10.
One of
I
those.
get confused. They start it all starts blending in like a big fabric, that
Yeah,
just
I
we keep
I have to go back and
weaving into it.
yeah, before I post the videos, I have to go back and see what the last one we did was before I title it. So, it gets away from you. Let's see. This question is from Egging Yoked. He says, "Were the Huns the greatest looks minimizers ever?"
The thing they did with their skulls, um I mean, obviously to our senses it's not
Yeah.
the most attractive thing. They must have done it for an aesthetic reason though. Oh,
It
maybe
was
they
to
did
in
it for something else. I Do you know
yeah.
why they did it?
Well, not necessarily, but I would imagine a lot of times in those societies it's to make yourself appear more fearsome. Like a lot of those things are really just to like intimidate the enemy. And looks minimizing is probably a way to do that. And it worked because like in a lot of Roman sources, they're extremely modern contemporary scholars look at it as like very racist, like they were just like calling them ugly because they looked different. I think they were calling them ugly because they purposefully were like sort of trying to appear fearsome, and in a way, one of the ways that you could do that, like, is to appear more ugly, but also one of the ways you could do it is to appear more beautiful. Like Achilles was incredibly fearsome, and it's also noted that like his appearance was very striking. Anyways, but yeah, the Huns are definitely recorded in Roman sources as like being incredibly ugly, and that's where that comes from.
There's kind of like with ugliness, like you can be kind of unesthetic or ugly in like a weakling sort of way, but
Hmm.
you can also be in like a more monstrous way. And
Yeah,
then
like a
you have to
grotesque
imagine,
yeah.
yeah, you have to imagine if you see these guys on horseback coming at you and their skulls are all they
Yeah,
probably look like freaking monsters. Like actual like your
yeah,
first thought is probably like these inhuman creatures are
yeah,
going to kill me. So it
yeah, yeah.
probably was partly an intimidation factor. Then probably status, all that, and I think some of the Germanic tribes and peoples that they took under started adopting a little bit of that with their adopting that custom. Obviously, it didn't stick
Hmm.
in the wider Germanic world, but I think we have some skulls from like Germanic chiefs who were pledged to the Huns who did that.
Interesting. Yeah, there was other tactics they had too. Like there's some sources that say that the Vikings would like shave their teeth down to points to appear like
Uh,
yeah, yeah, to look terrifying and stuff like that. But
Tangent on the teeth chafing. There's that Bronze Age shaman priestess whose like remains they have, and she had teeth shaved down really far,
mm,
and they think that it might have been done because the pain from like having your teeth nerves exposed might like get you into like a
ugh,
psycho
yeah,
state of like that a
fuck,
shaman might do like a dance. They might like hit her teeth and like that would like bring on some kind of episode. She also had some like spinal thing going on that might have caused like some kind of psychoactive symptoms too, if I'm remembering correctly. So
interesting.
could have been like getting you in
A
some
fury.
kind of trance or fury. Yeah, fearsome. Protecting my teeth. My mom paid the orthodontist too much for me to shave down my teeth.
Let's see. Gray Rilla asks, guns are badass, but sometimes I loathe the fact that they've largely trivialized combat in a sense. How do you guys feel about modern weaponry? I've actually spoken about this myself, where I said that I wished guns didn't exist for that reason. But since they do exist, like you gotta obviously keep up. You can't just not have a gun because guns exist because you resent the fact that they do. But yeah, I do think that they, especially with like the more modern, um, was I talking about this with you oh, we were talking about it with CB on the most recent podcast about how like
Yeah.
wars nowadays are fought with drones. Like you see in the Ukrainian wars, like these Ukrainians are just getting blown up by drones. There's not even humans fighting against them. And it's like, what have we even come to in terms of warfare? Like we're just like, did you make that point where you were like, we might as well just be playing with PlayStation controllers and just like letting robots fight each other? Like, why are we still dying at the hands of robots?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting discussion, and you guys should definitely
Check
visit.
it out.
And he also, CB brought up this encounter of like a knife fight between a Russian and Ukrainian soldier and all that. It's very emotional. I recommend you
Yeah.
at least seek out that excerpt. I won't do it justice here. More broadly, yes, on the guns, but something that kind of challenged me a little bit on that, because I used to be really like, swords
Pro-gun.
and spears and
Oh, okay,
all of
yeah,
that
yeah.
were like the honorable form of warfare. But when I read Storm of Steel,
Hmm.
it kind of, I mean, World War One was one of the worst industrial slaughters, but there was still so much heroism expressed in his view of that conflict. So I don't think that can ever really go away, unless, I mean, then the robotics question comes up. Um, but yeah, as Jonas said, they're here to stay, right? I mean, if you're going to want to defend yourself in any capacity, you're gonna want a firearm, and that's just the world we live in. And you play the cards you're dealt,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Exactly. Um, let's see. Kafatos8569 says, what would you choose if you could spend a day in an ancient moment of history?
Do I get to watch like without being affected, if
It's a
that
good
makes
question.
sense? Or like
Yeah.
if I chose, let's just say, if I chose a battle, is there a chance of me getting
Dying in it.
killed? Because I mean, or like a plague am I vulnerable in this situation? Because that might change my answer.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Let's go with everything goes. It's you have to participate in whatever is going on there. So you have to
Got
be a
it.
part of history.
Gotcha.
Because it says you have to spend a day, so you got to live there for 24 hours. What are you picking? I might just pick a time of peace and just get to experience what something was. But I don't know. It's kind of too exciting. Well, I mean, one of the things that I've always said is like I think it would be there's so much obviously like lore around the crucifixion of Jesus, and there's so many different accounts of what happened. I think it would be cool to go back and see what that was actually like. Um, but I don't know. Maybe that's too tumultuous of a time. Maybe I'm not supposed to see that.
I was kind of tempted to pick something around Jesus's life as well.
Yeah. See the reaction of
I
the
mean,
guards when they see the open tomb. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
and that, I mean, there's someone figuring out their spirituality, that would obviously be a huge opportunity to
It's enticing.
see and experience and feel what it was like to witness these miracles, or whatever element of Jesus's time you want to live in.
Yeah.
If you're not talking about a specific moment and just kind of a general, like a day to like an average day in history, I guess,
Hmm.
like not like a specific occurrence.
Yeah.
I would actually be really. I feel like living in a Minoan Crete for a day would be a lot of fun. They're
Nice.
like not as warlike as the Mycenaeans, but they've got like tons of wine, and they're very rich. They live on an island palace. That's
Lots
awesome.
of sports and games going on, it seems.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of above the nudity, if you will.
Of course, all of our minds went there, let's be honest.
um, yeah. Now, when their society collapses, it would also be interesting to see what exactly, because we don't know exactly what happened to Minoan civilization. At least as far as I'm aware. So it would be kind of cool or interesting to see it in decline as well. But maybe not so much decline that I don't make it back.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Southbrock asked like a very similar question: if you could go back in time and live as a citizen of any group of people's nation, when, where, and who would you choose? If I could give another answer to kind of the same question, I think it would also be cool to go back to ancient Greece, given I would be able to understand ancient Greek language and would be able to speak and interact. I think it would be cool to go back to like 400 BC and get to like meet Socrates before his trial, and like Plato as a young student, and like Alcibiades, all these guys, just there is like, it's just there was this one culmination of time, sort of around all these guys, where Athens was just like at their cultural peak. You have the Spartans like at their military peak. I think it would have just been really interesting to like get to see what life was like back then.
Very, very good answer. I'll add one more in this. I don't know if this counts, but if I could go back to like pre or right up to revolutionary America, colonial American society,
Mm-hmm.
partially because a lot of people like to, when we're talking about America, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
people try to use like the founders and stuff and for certain narratives and everything. And I would be very curious to see what it was actually like to live in that time and what their
Yeah.
opinions and things might be, and kind of take that sense back to the present. And you know what did American mean to the guys who made America, right?
Yeah, it's. I
um,
mean, I think it would be jarring for a lot of us.
yeah, yeah, that's the
It,
thing. I think it would
yeah,
be, which
that's a
should
great reason to
kind
choose
of
it,
the
though.
point.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Let's see. Next question. Um, Many Indo-European societies reflected three recurring functions: sacred authority, warrior force, and productive labor. How do you think those forces still appear in modern society today? It's a very layered question. The sacred authority comes from the fact that the Proto-Indo-Europeans believed in like divine kingship. The idea, like we often have this Roman this idea that we trace to the Romans of like the emperors or the kings being chosen by God and literally like becoming sort of gods themselves. And this is actually like an idea that stretches back to Proto-Indo-European roots. Um, so I think that divine kingship in this sense, like if we could take the West or America, for example, we believe that the president is chosen democratically by a people, and because we live in a Christian society, we would hope that we would be guided morally to choose the most upstanding figure that represents what we would want in a society in one nation under God. So I think that that's like as close as we're going to get, but I also don't think that we think that God chooses leaders anymore. Or maybe he does, but with like not in a way that we explicitly say that. Um, as for the warrior force, we have the strongest military in the world and productive labor. I mean, I don't know. I feel like what are your thoughts? What are you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, quite a different time. The original Proto-Indo-Europeans were dealing with small bands and Bronze Age technology and things, and we're
Small
clearly
tribes.
not in that state. And I think it would be accurate to say we're in a time when the sort of mercantile or economic merchanty type business person is the more like politically ascendant figure.
Hmm.
Politicians are career politicians. They're lobbied by corporate interests, which are technically backed by physical might.
Hmm.
All power is, if you go back far enough. And in the U.S. military is very sophisticated, and modern militaries in general in the West are very sophisticated and have a lot of true warriors, of course.
Yeah.
Going back to that whole gun thing, they're absolutely modern warriors using modern weapons. But it's you've got the whole like military industrial complex. You have a lot of advanced weaponry, bombs, things. So that might be less apparent, and also the way we treat our veterans and our warriors. Even going back as far as ancient Rome, which had a professional army,
Hmm.
veterans could make a ton of wealth conquering, plundering, getting paid. They could get a ton of status. There was a lot of legitimate benefits in fighting Rome's wars if you were a Roman soldier. A
Yeah.
lot of veterans today do not get that luxury, unfortunately. They're not treated with the same. We might still like esteem them culturally, but they're not rewarded in the same material sense that ancient warriors were, and they're not like a political or a cultural class like lords or knights, like a warrior aristocracy.
Right.
Um,
Which I
and
think would
they're
do better for us.
Yeah, I would have to agree, and that kind of ties in with the productivity, because part of the reason our army is so powerful is because we can make a lot of stuff. We have a huge industry, although maybe that's starting to change going further. We'll see
We'll
how the
see.
next bit of
Yeah.
history plays out, but
There you go. I did want to give a quick shout out. Verdant House just sent us $5, Dane.
hey,
We got. I
hey,
don't know if that's a super chat. I don't know how it, like a super thank you or whatever. But thanks so much for sending that. That is really really cool. Um, let's see. Uh, do you have from Gallipoli 1917? He asks, "What is your favorite style of HEMA? Polish saber, fencing, other styles." That's historical European martial arts.
I've never trained HEMA, so I can't say.
Yeah, I can't really say either.
I would love
Um,
to,
let's go with
but
jousting. I think jousting looks sick.
yeah, jousting would be blast.
Oh, Violet Fury says that she is part of a specialized historical fencing group in Wisconsin. She does German longsword. That's super
Mm.
cool. I actually have a friend of mine that I went to college with, who,
Excuse me.
Jesus, no, I'm just kidding. He says that he does HEMA, and he's invited me once or twice. And I should probably get into it. It looks pretty cool. But yeah. Dane, since you're into pike and shot, do you watch any Sandroman history? I think he's Dutch, but he would be a cool guest for a history-based episode.
I've seen some of his videos. It's been a while since I've watched one. Um, Certainly would be a great guest, though. He's from the videos I've watched. He's knowledgeable and presents his information
Oh,
well. So
dude, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We just got another $15 from $10 from Drew and another $5 from Jaden Davidson 8950, both for hashtag Dane Chair Fund because you need to get a new chair.
oh, yeah, you guys seen the peeled chair? Yeah, I've had this since, so this came from Colorado. I've had this since I was like 14. And
Sentimental.
it's just like budget wise, I'm like, oh, I'm always like, I don't need a new chair. This chair's gonna work. I can get a new chair later. And now it's at the point where it's literally like I'll like stand up and there'll be like black fabric on my
Dust.
thighs. Like
Yeah.
it's falling apart on that level, but it's like it still works. And
Is it
I'm like,
comfy at least?
it's actually not that uncomfortable. Like it's pretty well padded.
Yeah.
So it's not a terribly uncomfy chair either. Here, I'll stand up and show you guys the full chair. Um,
Oh
like
my God, it's not even on wheels or anything. You're just
no,
fucking
yeah, it's
rocking a
like
four-legged chair. That's crazy. All right, guys, we need to get Dane a new chair right now.
see the problem is though, you
Yeah.
give me a new chair fund, and then that money does not go to a new chair.
Oh,
I'll be
you
like,
just sent us $20, dude. You have to fucking buy a new chair now. We have enough money to buy you a new chair.
okay.
You
I will
guys,
get a
this
new
is
chair. I promise it won't go towards historical weapon or
there you go.
drinks.
There you go. Your
Whatever
money
else.
is it's going to a safe place.
Yeah. Well,
Dude,
thank
that's
you
crazy.
guys for taking pity on my poor chair that I've had
Yes.
for almost more than 10 years now. The shares it survived a lot of sitting.
Yeah, I have actually a nice chair. I have only used it once on the last episode that we did with CB because I pulled my QL muscle in my back 2 weeks ago, and I was in so much pain that day I could not like stand up, so I was sitting. But I'm typically standing, as you can see. I'm in my quarters. Um, but yeah, so I'm a fan of the nice swivel chair. Mine actually doesn't have wheels either, but it swivels, and that's you got to get a chair that at least swivels.
Mine does not swivel.
No.
You have
No.
me
You
beat
see,
there.
you got to have more motion in there, Dane.
Yeah. It can rock.
Uh,
I can do this though. Until I fall backwards and then.
right. We would love to see that on the chat on the stream. Um, let's see. If you could study a craft, masonry, carpentry, etc., what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question because I would love to be skilled with my hands, and I'm not. At least for that kind of stuff. Do you have do you have one on the
Well,
forefront?
so I mean this one is kind of not I I know what the question is asking. The first thing that came to mind was that like one of the most recent sort of crafts I study. I am an actor. I at least before like getting into content, like acting was my main goal. And so acting, they call it a craft, and I studied acting in a couple different like not schools, but like classes under different teachers and stuff. But if I had to pick one that was like more of a uh, like an actual like skill, or what would you call it? A trade. If I had to pick a trade to learn a craft in, would probably be carpentry, just because when I used to do construction when I was 17, 18 years old, I was just a laborer, and so I would be given all of the shit work, you know? But also, I would be sent to run and get materials from Home Depot, which was awesome. But I was also always really jealous of like the carpenters because it just looked like fun, and it's a dude. We got another $10 from Jaden for the Unicorn Horse Armor Fund. This has got to be about
Let's get the unicorn some armor. You make it a unicorn cataphract.
we should actually make it because, like I said, we're actually moving soon, and this wall is going to have to be unfortunately taken down, but it will be reassembled somewhere else, and maybe in my new studio I'll be able to keep the unicorn head. I might have to fight Chloe about that, but we'll see what she says. But thank you so much, Jaden. Seriously, very appreciated. Um, but yeah, I always thought that carpentry was really cool. I liked assisting the electricians. I liked assisting the plumbers. But carpentry was just always like very fascinating to me. And I feel like it's like the most sort of um, like if everything goes to shit and we have to live in like a post-apocalyptic society, I think people who know carpentry are going to benefit the most because like natural resources like timber are always going to exist. You know, electricity might not, plumbing might not, but at least if you can maybe like build yourself a little homestead.
Good pick. Good pick. Also, Jesus was a carpenter, so
Jesus was a
there is
carpenter
that.
indeed. Yeah. There's speculation that he may have actually been a stonemason.
Really?
Because apparently, and I'm not enough of a biblical scholar to actually understand this, but apparently the um, translation of carpenter might be a sort of over exaggeration, and it might have actually just been craftsman. And
Uh,
there's different interpretations of the Greek, which may have been something like mason, which mason could technically be like a stonemason, or you could be some other kind of mason. Who knows? Um, but he was a builder of sorts. We know that for
huh.
sure. Yeah.
Interesting. Um, yeah, cool to think about. I guess for myself, I mean, blacksmithing would be awesome, especially because
Oh
then I wouldn't
yeah, dude.
have to buy swords. You could smith them.
Yeah.
I guess so. More generally, metalworking would be cool. I have no
Forging.
talent in any of that, but it would be awesome.
It
I
would.
would love to be able to make swords. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Miscreations. Um,
I think you
he's
sent
a
me some stuff from them.
Yeah, he's a mutual of mine, and he made the like winged armor. It was like scale armor that was like a bird's wing. That's just freaking awesome. I would love to be able to produce something like that and
That is
um,
awesome.
make it for people or for myself. But um, yeah, yeah, I guess I'll go with metalworking.
There you go. There you go. Um, Next question. Dane, what kind of axe is that?
It's a Dane axe.
There you
Literally,
go.
literally, it's
Nice.
a Dane axe. It's called that because the Danes were among the first people to use it, although it spread throughout the Norse worlds, and eventually the Anglo-Saxons became big users of the Dane axe, spread through basically all through northern Europe, and probably went on to inspire a lot of pole arms in Britain, Scotland, Ireland, England. Might have even inspired like the bill or even the halberd. Um, but yeah, it's literally called the Dane axe. That's why I got it partially because I'm
Very.
like Dane needs a Dane axe.
Of course he does. Of course he does. The next question is from South Broad, and he's also asking about your background. How does one come across the staff of Gandalf? Grave robbing?
TikTok shop.
TikTok shop,
um,
baby. Let's
yeah,
go.
it is a licensed replica. And it's battery powered. It has a light, but the light is really weak. It's like double A batteries, so it's like, you know. But it's yeah, it's cool to have an actual staff of Gandalf. Although when I hike, I just take a walking stick
Yeah.
because I don't want to damage my. It's resin, it's not wood, so it's like a
Mm-hmm.
movie prop. It's built to be like a movie prop, so it's
Right.
um,
Well, it looks beautiful in the background. That's all. That's all it needs to do.
and it has a hanger.
Oh, there you go.
I just haven't mounted it because I'm
Your
not a
lack of skills.
carpenter or
Right.
and I've been too lazy to have I have some friends who are those kind of things. I just have been lazy and busy.
Yeah. Uh, Alexa recommends that we should make a PO box where fans can send us fancy stuff.
Like anthrax.
Right, like anthrax.
Just
Yeah,
yes. Do not
that's
send us plagues.
don't send us. Yeah, don't send us.
Um
What is it? Bioengineered plagues. But
that
yeah,
would be cool to receive.
yeah.
Um
Hopefully, when we're in the same location one day and we've got our own studio, we can totally open up a PO box and people can send in stuff that they want featured in the Barbarian Banter studio. Um, let's. I'm trying to figure out if this is a question. Drew says, I want to start making muscadine wine and would love to have it sampled by others. Is that maybe a P.O. box sort of joke?
well, I tried brewing mead once. I got a mead kit.
How did that
And the
go?
mead's it's still in my I have like a closet it's in. But um
It's like a
I'm
sourdough
scared.
starter.
Yeah, I forgot about it for like a year, and I'm
Oh shit.
scared to even.
Try it.
Yeah.
I think mead ferments faster than that. So maybe.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I don't know. I'll
I'm
have
down
to
to
look
try
at
it.
it. Yeah, we can
Bring it.
have a barbarian pint together of
Yeah.
yield mead. Maybe it's got anthrax growing in it.
Fuck it. We'll find out. We will find out. All right, next question from Southbrow. He says, "What's the trick to memorizing your scripts? I find myself blubbering over words and cursing myself most of the time. Got any
For
tips and
me,
tricks?"
teleprompter. At least for my videos that I write and edit and script in that sense
Mm-hmm.
are teleprompted. That kind of dispels a little bit of the magic.
Excuse me.
Um, but yeah, no, I get it, and I'm Jonas. I know you get it. Sitting in front of a camera, even when you have everything you're going to say perfectly mapped out, once
Mm-hmm.
you hit record, it's just you stumble, you miss a beat, you screw up a word, things happen, and it can be frustrating, especially when you're trying to make a tight script
Yeah.
that where you're very like obviously we're riffing right now. Of course, this isn't scripted, and I do some unscripted videos. And that you give yourself more leeway for ums and pauses and repetition. But if you're writing something where it's like every word is intentional and you want
Yeah.
things in a
Yeah.
specific order, it's hard to memorize. I've memorized speeches before, but it's like I'm not going to spend a week memorizing a TikTok video because
It's not
then I
worth
would
it.
not make enough content. So
Yeah.
CapCut has a teleprompter. I
Oh, is
would
that what you
recommend
do it
that.
in? Fuck,
Yeah.
dude. Okay, because so previously, if you guys have noticed, my style of content has changed a little bit. I sort of shoot my videos like Dane does now. I used to do the handheld, and that's because I loved shooting on the TikTok app because it's like Snapchat where you can just hold the thing down, record, and then it stops recording as soon as you let go. And then that way you don't have to cut out the empty space. It's just like clip after clip after clip. And also, if you do fuck up, you can just hit X and then it deletes that part and you could shoot it again. So, what I used to do is I used to have my laptop open and then I would have my phone and I would record the clip. I would go down, get the next line, come back, record that again. And I would just do it that way. People told me that they think my videos would do better if it was stationary and I wasn't moving around so much because they thought it was distracting. And so I was like, you know what? If it's going to help, whatever, I'll give it a shot. So then I started doing the teleprompter thing like you do, but I was using the teleprompter, or I have been using the teleprompter filter on TikTok.
Yeah, it's not good.
Dude, not only is it not good, if you fuck up, you still have to walk over to the camera, stop the recording, and do the whole thing again. You have to like delete the part of the script that you've already. It's a fucking nightmare. And so I've had to memorize my scripts at least in part so that I don't stumble or fuck up while shooting. So when it's recording, I like read it and it's got to be perfect the first time, and then like you only get one try basically, unless you can read it fast enough to the point before it disappears. There needs to be a way to control the teleprompter from where you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Can you
that
do
would
that in the CapCut app?
no, but it does have a lot of quality of life features that are nice. Like you can change the size of the text, you can change how fast it scrolls. Pretty almost too much. It's almost like too much because I can't remember
Control?
what setting I have it on. It's like
Yeah.
1 out of 100. It's like um, the only thing that sucks about it is it's a 3,000 character limit, which translates for me to about a 3 minute script, which is what I
Yeah.
shoot for because Instagram requires
3
less
minutes.
than 3 minutes. And you don't want to yap for much longer than 3 minutes usually anyway. But it
You
sucks
sure
if you
about
have
that? We're at an hour and a half right now.
Yeah, good point. But it does suck if you have like a 4,000 character script and then you
Yeah.
have to you can
Do it
still
twice.
you have to film in two separate videos and then combine them after in post. So it's not a huge deal, but I'm just
Yeah.
like I'm like, why is there a limit? Like
Okay.
there's no
Well, I'm switching over to CapCut then, it sounds like. Nice. Another huge shout out. Donkey9265 sent us $10. Simply I think that this is called a super chat. I'm pretty sure that that's what this is.
Does it?
They asked,
Because I'm not seeing it on my end. What is it?
because I'm looking at it on the YouTube version.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I'm in our recording on Riverside, so
Yeah.
gotcha.
It let me like pause so that when people still asked questions I could go back. But Donkey, thank you so much. Do you guys play any games, he asks.
Not a ton anymore. I hate to admit it, I've been playing a little bit of League of Legends. It's my
You
bad
motherfucker.
habit. I've been replaying Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, the old one, not the new one. And I've been playing Total War Attila, but I've got the Lord of the Rings mod. So I've been playing Total War, but Lord of the Rings. And it's actually a really awesome
Nice.
mod. And I kind of want to live stream it, but I don't know. I haven't streamed games much before. I tried once and the Wi-Fi went out and that kind of like ruined the experience. So I haven't done it again, but
That would do it. No way, Dane is a League player. Yeah, apparently he is.
it's it's like my skeleton in the closet that
I don't play any of those games that everybody asks me about, like Total War and stuff. I want to, but I only have a PlayStation 4, and I think I need to have a PC or something to play a lot of these games. I do love Assassin's Creed, so I've played Assassin's Creed Black Flag all the way through. We talked about how much we love that game. I have played Assassin's Creed Odyssey all the way through. And I've played Assassin's Creed Valhalla a little bit, but I haven't gotten through much of it. But I just don't really have a lot of time to play games. But when I do, I've been playing the new Skate game that just came out. I like to people who have did you ever play Skate 3 or anything?
I never did.
See,
I had
for
a roommate who really loved Skate 3 though.
Dude, greatest game of all time. That was just like everything that my friends and I did after high school for many years. And I'm also very partial to FIFA because Brazilian, played soccer growing up. FIFA is like one of the best sports games. So yeah, my top 3 games are Assassin's Creed of any variation, FIFA, and Skate. Those are the games I typically play. Dane, I gotta know who you play and what lane.
Well, if it was bad that I'm a League player, I'm also exclusively a range top player, which is like the black sheep of League positions. I play Quinn and Teemo, that's it, which a lot of people hate. Yeah. Not making a good case for myself here.
I don't know what any of those things mean,
if you
so I'm
played
not
League,
judging.
then you know range top is the most oppressed minority in the world. Yeah.
Skyrim. I downloaded Skyrim. I started playing it more recently, like maybe a year ago I downloaded it. Because I loved the soundtrack and the aesthetic and everything. But the thing is, I'm so bad at video games that Skyrim is... I put it on the easiest setting. It's on the easiest setting. All of the enemies and just are on the weakest setting, and I can't do it. It's too hard for me. And there's also too much going on. Like, to be able... You have to, like... Have you ever played it before?
No. Skyrim's the one I've never played. I played Dark Souls.
You have to upgrade, like same as in Assassin's Creed, but for some reason maybe the interface is more compatible for what I'm familiar with, of like upgrading your skill tree and like equipping different armor and stuff like that. I'm fine with that. In Skyrim, it's like there's different potions for different things, and there's different like dude, Jaden, $2. Thank you so much. He says I revoke the chair fund. It's all unicorn now. We're going for unicorn armor.
Oh, he said never meet your heroes. How do I refund my super chat? Sorry for all League players that I've revealed my true self.
How do I
Um,
refund my super chat? Oh man.
you have to beat me in a lane match. That's how you get your refund.
Yeah. Philosopher King said, "What are you using an iron fork?" If that's a Skyrim joke, I have no idea. Like I said, I downloaded the game. I got through like the first mission where you have to go to like the top of the mountain where all the guys are, and uh I mean, I don't know. I stopped playing because it was too difficult. It was too difficult for me, and I couldn't figure everything out, and it's too, I don't know, it was just too much. So I stopped playing, and I went back to my Assassin's Creed, my tried and true. Um, if maybe one day we can do like a Skyrim, we can do a Skyrim playthrough, and you guys can watch how bad I am at video games, and you'll understand. Dude, everybody's devastated by your League of Legends.
I know.
Or maybe they're devastated about me being bad at Skyrim. I'm not actually sure.
Neither is great news.
No, it's not. Jaden, thanks so much for the $2 though. He used to play Skyrim, but then he took an arrow to the knee. I do know that reference.
Skyrim also has some banger tracks. Like if you're doom 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 doom, you know that song?
But dude, they're the best. I have like a Skyrim playlist on my phone.
Whoever the composer or musician behind that was, masterclass.
Nice. Varangian Guard says, I just got here. What's your favorite Assassin's Creed game? I think we've both agreed our favorite game is Black Flag, right?
Yes. Black Flag is awesome.
It's the best.
My gosh.
I am very partial to Assassin's Creed Odyssey because ancient Greek history, culture is like my favorite. However, Black Flag Pirates, that's unbeatable. That was the best. Rat the Chicken says, Hyperborean knowledge crossover episode, please. If Hyperborean knowledge is a person, then that is not in the works. However, I do have a friend who is an expert on Hyperborea who will be coming on the podcast soon. So we will do like a full Hyperborea episode. Yeah. Jaden Davidson says, you guys would enjoy Bannerlord. Is that another...
So it's the sequel to Mount and Blade Warband. I played a ton of Warband growing up. Bannerlord, as far as I understand, is just better mechanics, more modern, whatever. So I'd love to play Bannerlord, but I re-downloaded Warband. That's the problem with a lot of these games is like now I just don't have the time to like reinvest
to get into it.
Yeah, it's like some of these. That's why I like games a little bit now that are like matchmaking, because I can say I'm gonna play a match, and then I'm gonna do the actual things I have to do. But if you get into like Skyrim or Bannerlord or Mountain Blade, you can play for hours, and it's like I just don't have that kind of time right now, unfortunately.
It's a skill. It's hard to get good at. 15 says, New Earth Fitness on the show when? Are you familiar with this guy, New Earth Fitness?
I am not.
I've mentioned him a couple times because somebody sent him to me, and they were like, one of my friends, Nico, he sent a video of this guy, and he said, yo, I think I found Harry Miller's like long lost uncle. It looks like Harry, but just like
no way.
Yeah, it was like an older version. And this guy basically like he had this whole like how can I put it? He had like a looks maxing ascension, that's what they call it, where he like was balding and he was like out of shape and all these things, and he started implementing like esoteric spiritual practices along with bodybuilding to looks max basically, and now he's just this like super jacked, like square jawed Chad. Who is like records these videos on like a toaster oven on like 240p in the middle of the jungle, and he made this I found him because he made this 40-minute video on how to grow, what was it? It was basically like how to looks max, how to like grow your facial bones and regrow your hair and stuff like this. And the entire video, he talked about how you need to change your perception of yourself from the inside. You need to like, he basically talked about all the spiritual practices of like becoming who you are so that the outward
what's the
reflects
name
the
again?
inner. New Earth Fitness. The fucking coolest video I've ever watched. It's like 40 minutes long.
I feel like I've seen this guy before. Now that
You can share your
I'm
screen
looking at
if you
his
want to show
channel.
everybody. I don't know if you can share your screen, but
he does look like Harry Miller, that's for sure.
this guy,
Harry,
yep.
we've yeah, your uncle is definitely.
There was one of the
here.
videos. Go to see if you can find like his most popular videos. That one right there. Yep. Dude. Everybody go watch that video. What is the title? I can't read it from here.
Facial bone development, height, growth / an authentic discussion.
Yes. And it is truly an authentic discussion. He's not taught like, well, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but he's not going to tell you to smash your face with a hammer, and he's not going to tell you to like do these exercises with your face or anything like that. And he's not going to tell you to hang from a pull-up bar to get taller. But he does have some very esoteric wisdom, so you guys should go check it out. He would be a great guest on the podcast. I'll reach out to him. Let's see. Is Edward Kenway the archetypal aristocrat of the soul? Asks Varangian Guard.
Honestly, I remember so little of the actual like Black Flag story and his character because I would always just screw around on the pirate ship and in the towns fighting the soldiers. Like I didn't really play the missions too. Like I played some of the missions, but like I really loved just like being a pirate and screwing around. So actually I don't know regarding his actual like character and essence.
Edward Kenway is a Welsh-born farmer turned charismatic privateer and ultimately pirate, born in 1693, who becomes a prominent assassin during the Golden Age of piracy. I think also too, like, wasn't he one of the only assassins in the Assassin's Creed series who's not like a direct descendant of Ezio or whatever I think there is something like that in the lore. But anyways, driven by a desire for wealth to improve his life, he leaves his wife, Caroline Scott, for the Caribbean, eventually getting involved in the Templar-assassin conflict. His journey is one of tragedy, redemption, losing his loved ones before dedicating his life to the assassin cause, and finding his legacy. Does that make him an aristocrat of the soul? I would say so.
I suppose, in a sense, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's
navigating
all of the sort of tumultuous things as best as he can, and he's not like, well, I don't know. There's obviously like, and I need to finish reading Evola before I truly understand what it means to be an aristocrat of the soul. But from what I've gathered, we could say Edward Kenway is a true stud. Let's see. Oh, dude, you know what's so funny? I was kind of looking at the Instagram questions because we do have a lot of questions on here that we should probably try and answer a couple. But somebody, Alan B415 just asked, have you seen A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms? And somebody else just asked that on Instagram too.
Although I've heard it might be worth. I tend to steer clear of most modern productions just because whenever I do watch it, it ends up being a waste of time because a lot of modern productions suck.
Yeah.
In Game of Thrones, I've tried and I didn't like Game of Thrones.
Oh, is that what
Um,
it's from? It's from Game of Thrones?
it's from that. I think it's a prequel. I'm not sure. Someone can correct me on that.
Hmm.
But I've heard it's actually very good. So I don't know. It might be worth me checking out for
Yeah,
sure.
we could
Although
definitely
this
check that
summer
out.
I've already got Miami Vice and um, Magnum PI on block, so I got to get through those before I entertain anything else.
There you go. Um, Alexa asks, how did you meet your lady? I met my girlfriend in high school music theory class my senior year. Shout out Miss Self. She was our teacher. I jokingly actually asked her to prom because she was kind of a young teacher, and I thought it would be funny. So I asked her to prom in front of the whole class. She rejected me. But my girlfriend, who is now my girlfriend, she thought that was probably pretty funny. But she actually commented. The way that we met was like I would just like stare at her in class as young boys do when they see pretty girls. And then one day when I was leaving class, she commented on my shirt because it was like a band shirt. It was No Effects. I'm not a fan of them anymore, but at the time I was really into No Effects. I had made this shirt myself, and so when I was walking by, she was like, "Cool shirt," and then I was like starstruck. I was like, do you like the band or you like the shirt? Stupidest fucking question ever, bro. Holy fuck. And then
Oh.
and then she was like, I don't know, both. And yeah, and then we fell in love, and we've been together for like 9 years now. So yeah, that's how I met my girlfriend, Miss Self's music theory class. Um, let's see. It's chronologically a prequel, blah blah blah. Okay, cool. Dane is Tom Selleck maxing.
My mom made me cut my mustache for my sister's wedding last summer, and it was like the Tom Selleck length. So maybe
Yeah,
maybe I'll do that again when I.
just keep it growing. Fuck it. All right, let's jump into some of these Instagram questions here. If we get more questions in the chat, we will divert attention to that, but then we'll also jump back here. Let's see. I don't really know if I understand some of these questions. I do apologize, guys. I know that on Instagram, in the little text box response, it doesn't give you a lot to go off of. You can DM us the question, but just let us know in the text box that you DM'd us. Coolest sword of all time, any era, any myths.
Excalibur is up there because, I mean,
It is.
King Arthur's sword, and there's also so many interpretations of what Excalibur could actually have looked like. There's the Roman, more historically authentic, but then there's like the knightly sword, Bronze Age swords always have my heart aesthetically, but I can't think of any swords from the Bronze Age that are actually named.
Yeah,
So
honestly, I'm not good about that either. Like, I don't know. I don't know any sword names except for the sword from the Northmen is called Draugr or something like that. Nightblade. If you remember that.
need to rewatch that movie.
Yeah. Let's see. Zaskal7 says if you were to take one weapon and one companion animal to defeat a dragon, which would they be?
All right, I know we were just saying swords are cooler than guns, but if I'm gonna go fight a dragon,
Your flamethrower.
fight fire with fire, that would be brave. That would be because you'd have to get in the dragon's
It would
range.
never see it coming.
Yeah, although I don't know if dragons are supposed to be immune to fire because they breathe fire. I don't know if that's, or if it's only like,
Okay, good point. Good point.
um,
You would need to find something to, well, you could either try and penetrate its scales, or you hit it in the belly where it's not scaled, right?
right.
But with a gun, you probably don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, if you get something in 50 cal,
Yeah,
like a like a machine gun. I'm not good with modern weapon names.
me neither.
Like an M60 or something.
Yeah,
Um, it'd have to be a pretty big lizard to not get dropped by enough of those.
it would depend on the dragon. Yeah, exactly.
If it's
Hard to
like
say.
now, if it's like a actual like dragon that's like some dragons are more like almost like godly,
Hmm.
or supernatural, like Chinese
Yeah, and they
dragons.
talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you might just be screwed.
Yeah, if he's like hurling insults at you and
Yeah.
belittling you, like
And
it's
if
gonna
you
be a
can
tough
cast
battle.
spells and things, some
Right.
dragons can do that.
Yeah, because the tongue has the power of life and death, you
Yeah.
know? And so
Um,
if he can wish ill on me, then like I'd probably fuck.
one of the dragons in not in Lord of the Rings, but like the Silmarillion, like set in Middle Earth. One of the dragons, Glorung, I think, had that where he could like speak, think like he could make you freeze or with his words, things like that. So
Interesting.
yeah, some dragons have that power of tongue, and it doesn't matter what you're doing.
I think for the animal, I would want to ride in on like an armored rhinoceros.
And doesn't fly up in time, you hit it right in the chest with that rhinoceros horn.
More opportunities. That's all I'm thinking about. Um. Okay, Yakubian bloat, another fellow Discord member, asks, was number one ranked Chad androgenic, being kicked out of the United States, or Socrates being kicked out of Athens worse? Well, here's the thing. Socrates was kicked out of Athens, but he didn't leave. He honorably remained in Athens and accepted poisoning by hemlock as his execution. Androgenic still has the opportunity to remain in the United States and face what may come to him. No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually. Do you know anything about that? I saw your video where you were doing the Anglo-Saxon thing.
The androgenic, like the
Hilarious,
yeah.
hilarious, very well done.
Yeah, because well, I
Why
think
is
the
he being
real
kicked out?
because there's the whole thing with the Clavs OD and stuff. So I don't know why he got kicked out, but I do know when he got home that night he went out and then he got socked in the face and knocked over. That was huge aura loss.
Two,
Can't be
yeah, generational.
you can't be that big and getting put on your ass like that.
No.
Even though it was kind of a cheap shot if you do watch the video. But yeah, that was probably worse than taking hemlock in terms of like the respect
Or
to
a
your
loss.
name. Yeah. Yeah. Socrates definitely kept more of his aura in the way he went out.
Totally. Alan B415 asks, have you ever checked out the game For Honor? You can play as various historical warrior archetypes throughout different cultures.
Yeah, For Honor's a game I always wanted to try. I just never got around to it. Looks
Are
very
these
cool.
all are these all PC games? Are these anything that I can play on my PlayStation?
For Honor actually might be, because it's not a strategy game. But I'm not sure.
Okay. 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 Varangian Guard, do bayonets make guns cooler than swords?
There are some really awesome bayonets, especially like the I think it's Yadigans. Right prior to World War One, you get some crazy sword bayonets that are basically like swords on a gun. Like these things are freaking long. So yeah, I think there's actually some really, really awesome bayonets. And bayonets are really cool in like sci-fi fantasies and stuff, or like sci-fi settings, or yeah, you can get really creative with bayonets.
Yeah.
So I think they're awesome.
Nice. We are at an hour and 56 right here, so maybe we'll just take a few more questions and then we'll wrap up in a little bit and at 2 hours. Sound good?
That does sound good to me. Yeah. It's
Okay.
crazy how quick it flies by.
And also, really quickly, thank you guys all for showing up. This has been like incredible. I had no idea how well this was going to go or how badly it was going to flop. So I'm so elated to see that it went well. We will most certainly be doing this again. Um, but Southbra asks, what is y'all's favorite ancient Greek story?
Story of Icarus for me. I have a whole YouTube video kind of about Icarus.
Mm-hmm.
In the You have to go. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but Icarus was one of the first like Greek stories. My dad. There was this movie that had some like Greek mythology on it, and Icarus was one of the like tales in it, and that
Mm-hmm.
one always stuck with me the most. Um, and yeah, I just think that whole idea of flying too close to the sun and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on there, and Icarus has always stuck with me in terms of imagery. There's obviously so many ancient Greek myths and stories are cool and
Yeah.
invaluable, but
I mean, one of the other ones that ties in kind of directly is because Daedalus was the father of Icarus, and Daedalus was also the one who designed the labyrinth on
yes,
for King Minos, where the famous Minotaur is from. And that's another awesome story that I was maybe gonna pick was um, was it Theseus. Theseus was an Athenian youth. The story goes that the Athenians would send out like one man a year, or I think maybe it was just Greece in general. It might have been Athens. I think it's like an Athenian myth. Um, but they would send one man a year to go fight the Minotaur, and it was always the boys would never come back, right? And so when they finally sent Theseus, who was able to defeat the Minotaur. Um, that essentially like granted him access to the mysterious, ever elusive island of Crete. And the myth, in if you want to take a very literal interpretation of it, it shows when Athens finally gained like dominance over Crete, which was a civilization long before there, so they were a bit more advanced than like the Mycenaeans, and they weren't able to like conquer the Cretans for a long time until they finally did, and then that's where like this myth comes from. Also, there's a lot of symbolism with like the Minoans and bulls, and so like the half man, half bull is basically like the monster of the Minoan people in general, if that makes sense. And so when Theseus finally defeats the Minotaur, it's like them defeating like the spirit of the Minoans. And I think that that's just like a really cool kind of like tie-in story. But yeah.
interesting. I might have brought this up before in an episode, but I've read something that says the Medusa story is something similar in terms of it's a story representing the Greek peoples um, overcoming the local worship of serpents. Like they
Mm,
conquered the local society, which was matriarchal and worshipped serpents, and that
yeah,
the Medusa story is um, a myth
that makes
about
sense.
them taking out this
Because there's like
overcoming this society that worships
the
snakes.
Minoan goddess statue, the one that's like holding two snakes. You know the one I'm talking about? That makes
Yeah,
sense. I think it's a
yeah,
representation of their like Earth Mother god
yeah.
goddess.
So yeah, it's interesting to think how myths they you can say that the story didn't literally happen,
But
but
it
then
literally
there's
happened.
did literally happen, but then
Yeah,
there's also some more like broad cultural historical truths
truth. Yeah,
encoded in the myth.
100%. That's always true. These myths are recurring eternally. They don't like they may not have happened like at one time in history, but they always represent something that either did or is just like a recurring eternal truth. So, yeah. Well, we're at 2 hours and we've answered just about every single question. The good ones at least.
Yeah, as Jonas said, super appreciative that you all tuned in, and I didn't even know that you could donate super chats, which is really awesome to see. So thank you,
Yeah,
everybody,
that was incredible. Thank you guys.
Who tuned in, who did that. We'll see if I get a new chair. I will get a new chair. But really, yeah, I didn't know how this was gonna go when we planned it out. Didn't know if just a couple of people were going to tune in or how it was going to play out, but you guys had some great questions. It was just an awesome time, and I'd love to do this more frequently. So
we tried to figure out how to live stream on YouTube 30 minutes before we went live.
Yeah. At least now we've got a better.
Oh, he said $20, dude. I thought I said $2. Fucking
whoa,
dude. Thank you so much, bro. This is seriously, to the heroes of my 20s, great stream. Dude, thank you so much. We love you and we appreciate you so much. This is going straight into the Barbarian Banter Fund. This is going to build the future studio that we will inhabit and film from. Yeah. What was I saying? We tried to figure out how to stream 30 minutes before this. That's on us. We need to get better at this, and we absolutely will.
Yeah, if anyone out there is technologically, if you have suggestions for how to stream better or anything related to that,
dude,
let us know.
Yes. And Drew just sent another $5. He says apparently For Honor is on sale right now for $5. Pick it up and let us know what you think. I will get For Honor. I will buy it for you guys and download it.
Now you have to stream it. You have to stream it for everybody.
I will do that. I will do that 100%. Well, guys, this has been absolutely amazing. So fulfilling. Love getting to be able to do this.
And obviously you guys were here live, so you don't need to see it again, but this episode will be going on our YouTube as a video, so other people will be watching our answers to your questions, and I think the chat will be included on the screen. I'm going to have to see when I export this recording if that works. But yeah, you guys will be featured on the page coming up here. So if you had any friends that missed out, well, they can see it there.
Yep. And again, we'll be doing this again soon. So we will see you guys then. Yeah, awesome.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. Stay safe, accomplish the things you want, and enjoy. It's almost the weekend, and enjoy your weekend. And yeah, we will see you on the next episode.